Okay, today is Sunday, July 16th, and I have a lot to document. As of today, I did some calculations. Everything that I started from seed, which is basically the majority of the plants that you see here, not all of them, but basically all of them, they were all planted on May the 1st, which means that they are, let's see, 2.5 months old today. So, that being said, I'm just going to go around and get a little bit of footage of each plant. These are the black-eyed Susans. These two specimens got these very large pots, so I'm really hoping to foster these plants. These are teddy bear sunflowers here in these decorative pots. Here's another planter of black-eyed Susans. There's way too many plants in there. Really, technically, you're supposed to space these guys 12 inches apart, but I always like to push the boundaries and see what you can actually do in a pot. So yeah. Most of the things in this tray are lemon balm, and I've already harvested quite a bit from it and cut it down pretty low, and it's starting to fill in a little bit more. It's been real hot, so it's been filling in slowly. This is a pepper that's just sort of a runt. I just haven't put it out of its misery yet. And I did just do a planting of some seedlings about probably pushing 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half ago. I've started some zinnias just to see if I could get these guys to bloom before winter sets in. And I'm giving them the royal treatment, which I wasn't able to do the first time around. So we'll see how that goes. Here's some more lemon balm. I sort of dropped the ball on the herbs this year as far as the thyme and the oregano. I never did get a chance to separate out the oregano, and it's struggling. So, a project for next year. Here's my sage plants. Rebounding nicely. I think they have spider mites though. Whoa! So I've been trying to stay on top of it. Been using my squirt bottle a lot. They've definitely been getting hit by something. And then here we have our peppers. You can see that they're starting to flower a little bit. But they're real tall and lanky. But I did transplant them up into these huge pots. Maybe it's like a ½ gallon. And we'll see what happens. But they are setting flowers, so I think we're going to have some peppers starting. Down there are the marigolds. And I started these guys in pots. Once they start blooming, I'll put them on the front porch. I'm just keeping them back here because I can keep a closer eye on them. Over here we've got some basil. This whole section is Craspedia. Really struggles in the heat. I think this is a perennial that comes up in the spring when the temperatures are cool, and you probably get like a late spring, early summer bloom on it, but I grew them from seed this year, so I'm going to try to keep them alive and maybe get blooms next year. I don't know how that will go. There's all my onions. Not as robust as I would have hoped for. Wanted to get them into the garden beds, but just don't have enough space, so I've been thinking about up-potting them into a larger pot and seeing how they fare, but it could also be it's just too hot. We're in a heat wave right now. It's been in the 90s. The plants don't love that. Got two other Craspedia right there. Little baby basil. couple more black-eyed Susans, a couple more basils, a mystery plant, which I'm pretty sure is not lemongrass. There's the mystery yellow flowers that Heather Foley said was, oh gosh, the name is eluding me. In one of my videos, a viewer put a name of a flower that she thinks this is, and I think she's right. Took a look at the pictures of what that plant would look like in bloom, and I believe that's what I saw in the neighbor's yard, so time will tell on that. Maybe next time I'll have that name handy. There's all my yarrow, doing really well. The neighbor gave me these basil plants, but they're struggling and really cramped, so I don't think much is going to happen there, and I don't have the energy to separate them out. Here's all my feverfew. And they are starting to get some buds set here, which is interesting. I didn't think that these plants would flower because it's the heat of the summer. Again, I think feverfew tends to bloom a lot earlier in the season, but because I grew it from seed, it sort of messes with its natural cycle. But yeah, all of the plants, there's another one there in a large pot, they're starting to bud up, so that's exciting. I might see a few feverfew flowers before the end of the season. Catnip, which is looking really rough. Spearmint, which is also looking really rough. I mentioned the zinnias I started from seed maybe like, I don't know, what was it? A week and a half? Oh, you know what? I know it was the date was July 4th, so today's the 16th. About 10 days or so. And I started a whole tray of basil. Got a couple that are coming up. More marigolds, just to see if I can get those to flower before the end of the summer. Here's more of the zinnias. The ones that I up-potted were from this cell, and I don't know if I need these guys, so they're just chilling. That's a teddy bear sunflower coming up. Again, that's just an experiment. And the kale patch in the back is starting to run its course. It doesn't like the heat, so I'm trying to succession sow, and I've got all these other lacinato kales started. And then down here on the end, only one Russian red kale again. I think there's one that's trying to germinate there. And one down here that looks a little worse for the wear. And a sunflower. Like a legit sunflower. Which reminds me. Oh, you know, yeah, I think I confused one of the sunflowers for a zinnia back here. Because I know I transplanted one. This could be it. Not actually sure now. Funny. A good problem to have. So anyway, lots going on here. Oh, last but not least, these were all my tomato runts that I up-potted in a huge pot. Gave them a tomato cage. And I mean, it's not the most robust specimen, but there are actually some tomatoes forming. And these are cherry tomatoes, so it might be fine. We'll have to see. And here's my zinnia planter. These guys all got grown together in tight quarters. There's about 6 plants in there. And they're all starting to bloom, which looks really cute. You know, technically zinnias need a lot more space, but they can be planted together like this. And we've been really enjoying the color on the deck. Here's that other side of the tomato. There's the tomato. Okay, so head into the back. Grab my notepad here. Let's see here, I had a couple notes. Oh yeah, I wanted to give some information on the zinnias in case anyone ever plants stunted zinnias and they're just wondering, you know, what might happen. I know I was trying to seek that information out and I wasn't getting a whole lot on YouTube or even on like gardening forums. Okay, before I get into the facts, let me show you the bed. The sun hasn't quite hit this bed yet, so it's a little shaded. You can see the plants have grown a lot and they're filling out. Let me check my notes here. Okay, I planted these zinnias into the ground here in this bed on June the 20th, and today is July 16th, so it's been almost a month since they've been in the ground. And the original plants, they were grown from seed starting May 1st, so from May 1st to June 20th, they were in little cups, and I can merge in a couple pictures, which I'll do now, and as you can see, they were in really tiny cups for a little too long. I think a month would have been long enough, but a month and 20 days, I was really pushing the boundaries there. So, when I transplanted these guys, did not know how they would do, really. They've been slow growing compared to years past. I've checked documentation from previous years where I've grown zinnias and got them in the ground in a timely fashion and didn't stunt them, and they definitely were growing faster. These guys are a little bit behind, but even though they're slower, they are starting to still fill in and show signs that they're going to give me a little show here. So all of that being said, let me set my tablet down and get some footage here so you can see they're all starting to bud up. There's one that's flowering. The ones on this side, this yellow one and all these ones right along here are the cut and come again. They're not as large as some of the larger varieties. I believe that's a state fair, this whole row. Do we have a bud in there? Just a tiny one. But yeah, buds are coming up on all of them, so just come around the side here. This is a state fair that just opened. It's still in the process of unfurling. State Fair. And these are the California Giants. And this flower's been bloomed for maybe a week or two, so it's actually on its way out. But you can see the plant has buds here and here, and even here. So starting to branch out like zinnias famously do. I know people usually deadhead their flowers, but with zinnias I've chosen not to so far in my experience. Only because the first flowers for me tend to be the most beautiful, and I'm never in any hurry to cut them off. You can hear some buzzing here. We've got the butterfly bush behind me that's in full bloom, and the bees love it. This is a bud for I believe it's the Dazzler Cosmos. I don't know what plants are which in here, but I know I have some Dazzlers and also double clicks. Just gonna duck under. It's very hard to get through there. We'll get it from this angle. They're getting really tall and lush. I actually need to put up some more string just to give everybody a little bit more support over here. There's a teddy bear sunflower there in the middle in the mix. Gotta stretch a bit to get that. Teddy bear sunflowers are real tall. These are their first blooms, which tend to be the largest. But they will put out other flowers, as you can see there. And they put on quite a show for quite a while. And there's another one that's about to bloom. And right below me here is the kale patch, which has been great. But it is, you know, kale doesn't love the heat of the summer, and those darn cabbage lopers, those white butterflies that, you know, lay the eggs, I try to knock them off as much as I can, but it is a daily thing, and you can see it. And also, I think we have like a leaf cutter down here that's actually taking like large swaths of this plant on the end. I know I have at least one leaf cutter in this bed because I found it when I was tilling the soil and I didn't know if it was a beneficial or not, and I left it, but then I found out later it was a leaf cutter and I was like, damn. So I know I've got one in here. But anyway, all that being said, we've been getting kale leaves as we need them, so it's been providing us with our greens. And I have those baby plants over there on the deck that I'm hoping will be able to go into the ground here soon and take their place. So yeah, here's the marigolds, and they're just about to pop. This one I never got into the ground, but I still would like to. So it's hanging out there, and it's also got a bud that's ready to open. Yeah, and yeah, I'm still curious how my mono farming experiment of zinnias is going to go. I still have very high hopes for this area, and I'm hoping by September it's much taller with lots of blooms, but that still remains to be seen. So yes, Shasta daisies are on their way out. There's a couple still looking beautiful there, but they wouldn't have lasted this long if they hadn't been in a shady spot. They get like late afternoon sun, so they get protected most of the day, but I've just been deadheading them and letting them run their course. I need to figure out a trellising system for these guys and also the ones that are around to the back. Okay. Oh my god, these zucchinis have not disappointed. We've already harvested 4 really large ones, and we've got this one growing, and I really need to harvest that one. I don't know if the camera's doing it justice, but it's huge. And these guys are really producing a lot. Oh my god, there's another one there. And that, I don't know if the camera does it justice, but it's really large. So clearly, even though I didn't get a lot of flowers into this bed, the pollinators have been finding the flowers and doing the job for us, which is so great, because I just haven't had the time to hand pollinate this year. So yeah, so having 3 zucchini plants, 1, 2, 3, has made all the difference. In the past I've done like 1 or 2, and I've done 3 before, but I crowded them, so this year I gave them plenty of space. They take up almost this entire garden bed, and they are thriving. And it's the most zucchini we've ever gotten, and I couldn't be happy. I have to check the settings on my camera because I think at a certain point it just cuts off the video, so there's got to be like a maximum recording time that's set, and that keeps happening to me, and then I find that I've recorded what I think I'm recording and I'm actually not. So I think it cut off here on the zucchinis, and hopefully it caught everything I wanted to say there, and I'll just pick up where I left off. So after the zucchinis, I headed over quickly to the chamomile, and I just wanted to point out that both planters have run their course. You can see they're all dried up and wilting, and this is the time where you can collect seeds. And every few days I come out here and do that. And I just put them in like an old yogurt container. And when I'm done filming, I'll probably do quite a bit of harvesting over here. It's been a few days. So they're prime for the picking of seeds. This planter is all teddy bear sunflowers. These guys were all my little runts that were in their tiny little cups for way too long. They were approaching certain death. They were yellowing, they were just looking terrible, and I thought, last-ditch effort, let me just put them all in one large pot together. I picked a really large pot. Typically teddy bear sunflowers need a lot more space, as you could see in that other garden bed. Like, they need like several inches all to themselves. But I have had experience with this before, where if you crowd them or if you keep them in a pot that's too small, they will still bloom, they'll just be much smaller. So you can see they're starting to bud up. All of them have little teeny tiny flowers starting. And so this is going to be an adorable little planter back here. And yeah, it's a great way to salvage otherwise doomed plants. That's the mother spearmint plant, which is running its course. Looks really rough, has some disease. Yeah, not sure what I'm going to do with the spearmints this year, if I'm going to try to overwinter them again, or if I'm just going to start them fresh in the ground when I'm actually sure I know where I want to plant them. We'll have to see. And this over here is a lettuce, butterhead lettuce that has gone to seed. Really beautiful, actually. And once that's ready, I'll also save those seeds. Tucked away in the corner here is our volunteer corn plant. All I'm doing to this thing is watering it. I didn't plan to grow corn. An animal planted this for us, and it's apparently loving life, so I'm just watering it. And yeah, I'll have to read up on how to tend to it later. A lady named Heather also told me to shake it when there's tassels, which I know about the tassels, but I'm not sure of the timing on that, so I'll have to look into that a little more. But thanks, Heather, for that helpful heads up. Before I go around the back, just wanted to show you one of the zinnias in garden bed 3 that has finally bloomed. There's 2 more over here, and they're also just about to flower. They're just starting to unfurl. So that's exciting. The cucumbers, the Hocus gherkins, are doing great. They're really climbing, with my help, of course. I've been tying them up and keeping them upright. I've harvested quite a bit of baby gherkin cucumbers, and there's quite a bit more that are forming here on the vines. Oh, there's another one right there. And I'm sure there's several more, but I won't find them all, but they're doing great. And the tomatoes are doing awesome. They're all setting fruit. These are a variety called Mexican Midget. And not the greatest angle there, but they're cherry tomatoes and they're delicious. I used to grow Gardener's Delight, but honestly, they just weren't as delicious as I wanted. Ow. The roses got me. Okay. It's really hard to get in here, actually. It's quite overgrown. I did clear it out a little yesterday, but still lots of thorns from the roses. But I just wanted to get the underside of some of the zucchinis here. It's such a cool angle. I think my finger was over top of the speaker, but yeah, I was just saying it's such a cool angle. So yes, that's where everything is at the moment. Just wanted to get some footage and share it for any interested parties. Okay. Well, on that note, I will bid you farewell. Over and out for now.